Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining from, and welcome to the Passionate Professional series. My name is Tunde Kukoyi, and I'll be the host of today's episode. I want to say a massive thank you to those of you who are joining it on the live stream, or if you're going to be watching this as a replay. I want to say thank you for joining. Thank you for making this journey worth it. The Passionate Professional series is an offshoot of the Passion and Purpose Hub, which is a channel on YouTube that helps us to maximize our passions and purpose so that we do not just enjoy success, but also fulfillment in our personal and professional lives. Now, this is episode 30 of the Passionate Professional series, and our guest for today is already in the studio, Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu, and she's here to add value to us. So I would say fasten your seatbelts and get ready. Remember that this is always an interactive session. It's not just a conversation between myself and the guest. If you're watching live, we always like to hear your comments. We want to hear what struck out to you during our conversation. Or if you have questions as well, we'd like you to post them in the chat box and I'll be sure to respond to your questions. Just before I bring up our guest for today, I always like to recap or share again why we do these episodes. And basically, the reason why we do these episodes is to help you to see that if this passionate professional, these people can do it, they're not cut from a different cloth, or they are all human beings like us. That if they can do it, then that is proof of purpose that you can do it. I can do it as well. So it's bringing you closer to people that can serve as proofs or testimonies that these things are not out of our reach. We can actually do them. Randomly during the week, I went to a conference, and then someone put a post by Simon Sinek, and it says that working hard on something that you do not care about is stress, but when you're working hard on something that you love, that is called passion. And that's what these passionate professionals embody. They work hard on not just something that they don't care about, but something that they love, something that makes a meaning to them, and by so doing, they make a meaningful contribution to the world. I'm going to ask a question as a bit of an introduction, as we always do on the Passionate Professional series. And the question for this month is this: how often do you practice self reflection? How often do you practice self reflection? Now, the first question is, what then is self reflection? Basically, the way I like to put it in simple terms is taking some time to just pause and then just ponder on what you've been doing. I mean, what have you been doing all along with your life, whether it's on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. It's just taking some time to slow down, pause, and reassess situations, thinking about your thoughts, your attitudes, your motivations, your desires, and eventually how those led to your outcomes. Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about self-reflection? It's because it's been proven that it's one of the habits that actually separates mediocre professionals from the top-notch professionals in their field. Many people actually do not practice self-reflection. It was Socrates that said that the unexamined life is not worth living. And although I'm not saying that people don't have lives not worth living, but many of us today have stopped examining our lives, and we need to actually slow down, stop and examine our lives, reassess our lives. The main reason why, or some of the reasons why some people do not reflect, do not practice self reflection, is we feel that we are too busy, we're too engaged, we're going from one thing to the next thing, or we don't have time, whether it's with the chores in the house, with family, or whether it's with our work as well. We just feel like we don't even have time to pause and slow down. But if we say that we do not have time to pause and reflect, it's just like saying, "Oh, I'm going somewhere and I'm not going to stop to refill my car. I'm just going to go till the gas goes empty." I think we're not going to get to where we're going that way. Another thing is, in today's age, many of us have become too distracted. There's always something pulling our attention, whether it's from TV, whether it's from social media. There's always something begging for attention. And as some people say, attention is the currency of the future. So guard your attention. But I think for me, in the past, and for many people, I think this is probably the most important reason why people never self-reflect, and it's called the ostrich effect. As you can see the picture there, it's like a man putting his head beneath the sand. And what the ostrich effect really means, it was a term that was coined in about 2003, is that we kind of run away from things that we feel might be potentially negative feedback, even if that feedback is going to help us to grow, because we do not want to experience the discomfort of that feedback. And it's something that plays out in many people's lives. Probably one of the biggest example of the ostrich effect is when they told the captain of the Titanic, Edward Smith, they told him, this place where the Titanic is going to sail, there are lots of icebergs there. And because he just did not want to take that negative feedback and he was so self-absorbed, he said, even God cannot sink this ship, this Titanic ship. And guess what happened? The Titanic sank. So we need to actually be comfortable with taking sometimes in quotes negative feedback because it can help us. I'm not talking about criticism, but I mean things that we feel like might be uncomfortable for us. Actually sit down and listen to that because it might help us become better people. Another example is people not wanting to check their bank accounts when they've overspent. That's also the ostrich effect. Or people not wanting to get tested, like people that have diabetes not wanting to check their blood sugars. That's how the ostrich effect plays out in our lives. And for many of us, we need to break that clamp of the ostrich effect and actually reflect because self-reflection might be ego bruising, but it helps us become better people. So very shortly, what do we reflect on? And a very basic one by Benjamin Franklin is at the start of the day, he used to reflect on what good shall I do today? And at the end of the day, it says, what good have I done today? That's very basic. But some people at Harvard, the Harvard Business Review, they said that's good, but I mean, it won't help you to become like the top-notch professional you want to be. So in your professional lives, you should reflect on what surprises you, what frustrates you, because out of the frustration, you can actually see the things that you're passionate about, and then what you failed at. Don't just fail and say I'm moving on to the next thing. I'll blame something else. You actually need to stop, sit down, reflect, and then gain the learning, the experience from that, and then you move on. So make time for self-reflection. You can also get a journal or you can use an app. Join groups where people actually practice self-reflection, like masterminds, roundtables, where people actually ask questions that people are not comfortable answering, but it helps to bring out the gold in you. And don't just reflect for reflecting's sake. Actually build up on your previous reflections and become a better person for it. A quote that many people used to say is experience is the best teacher, but actually, experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. So make up your mind and make an active effort to reflect more often because that's how you can extract things from your past to engage your future. Right. I can see that we have some people that are watching live. And at this point, I would play the bio of our guest and then I'll bring her to the stage.
Accomplished physician, serial entrepreneur, and Maxwell Leadership Certified speaker, trainer, and coach, she has dedicated her life to helping others reach their fullest potential. Founder of Full Hands Ventures, a pioneering communication and training company, Dr. Oshikanlu transforms lives through personal and professional development. She co-runs the Empowered for Greatness Foundation, an initiative that sponsors financially challenged medical and law students in Nigeria, enabling them to pursue their dreams and give back to their communities. Her journey is a testament to resilience and courage. Let us give a warm and cheerful welcome to Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu.
Hi, Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu. How are you today?
I am fine, thank you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be on this program today. Welcome to our listening guests, the listening audience who tune in on a Sunday. And thanks for the
Thank you
invitation.
so much. Thank you so much, and thanks for honoring this invitation. I know that you're based in the United States, but I mean, well, I'm currently based in England, and it's Mother's Day here. So, from me to you and to all of our viewers who are mothers, I want to say Happy Mother's Day to you. Thank you for all your efforts. We truly appreciate your efforts. There can't be too many Mother's Days. Some people say, why is there's so many Mother's Days? I mean, there can't be too many. We truly appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right. So, yes, we've read out or we've played your bios. I mean, it's the first time. I love how you have a video bio because most times I always read it. But yeah, it did say things like you being an accomplished physician, a serial entrepreneur. But can you tell us a bit more about yourself? I would like to know who Dr. Olabisi Oshinkolu is.
Thank you so much. I'll be happy to tell you. So I am a board certified pediatrician. I also a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer. And I inspire and empower high achieving women to overcome the 4Ds. If you know me, and a lot of my friends who are on the call could say this, I love acronyms. So I'm always coming up with all the different acronyms. So I came up with these 4Ds for high achieving women in healthcare. And that's my niche. That does not mean that I don't coach or work with other leaders or male men, for example. So I help these women in healthcare overcome the 4Ds, which are depletion, demotivation, disillusionment, and dissatisfaction. I'll say it again: depletion, demotivation, disillusionment, and dissatisfaction. So there's all these D's and the dis, okay? And so by helping them break through these barriers, I believe that they can step out boldly and with confidence and just with a renewed purpose. So I find even the title of your program, The Passionate Professional, very apt for this discussion. And I'm going to share a little, just a back end story with you very quickly. After I came to the United States, I did my residency at SUNY at Stony Brook, New York. But I needed my green card. I don't know what they call it in the UK, but I needed my papers. So I had to go to a very small town in the south of America called Natchitoches, Louisiana. I don't think you can find Natchitoches on the map. And I just opened up 2 clinics while I was there, owned and operated 2 successful pediatric clinics, was grossing in the millions when it came to income. And I loved it. I loved being able to give back. I loved having my independence to do what I needed to do with the children and with the parents. But 5 years, 10 years, 15 years rolled by, and I got really exhausted. I, burnt out, disillusioned, running on empty. And we can't pour out from an empty cup. And this success, which I had built, began to suffocate me. And I love Anthony Robbins. I'm sure some of you know him. He's a motivational speaker. He says that success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. So I sold both practices and transitioned to being a medical director at a Fortune 700 organization, healthcare organization, and started having conversations with other women like me. They look good on the outside, MD, MBA, CP, more degrees than a thermometer. And I realized that these people were facing these Ds. They felt depleted, AKA burnout, demotivated, discontent, dissatisfied, but they didn't know who to talk to. Because when you go talk to people, they'll say, well, you have everything now. What's the problem? But there's a problem. And that led me to establishing Full Hands Ventures, which is mentioned in the video, in 2022, to enable women in healthcare, address these issues, talk about these issues, and then walk them through what I had been through and come up with solutions together. And so we do this. Full Hands Ventures operates through coaching, individual and group. We have workshops, keynote speaking engagements, and then creating awareness by being on your podcast, for example. And I noticed that people were getting results. I was getting results. So currently coaching people who have said, you've moved the needle. I feel better about myself. Those limbs that I had when I was younger, I've picked them back up. And I can do my career and do life together and be fulfilled. I don't have to burn out or crash and land. And then the last thing that I would want to say about myself is that I'm very passionate about philanthropy. My father passed, he was a physician. He passed away when I was 9, leaving my mother, who was 33 years old at the time. My mom is West Indian, a 33-year-old foreigner in Nigeria with 5 kids aged 1 to 9. And so that was really hard. But people stepped in and helped us. And so we went to the best schools. We did not struggle. I mean, my mom would tell you that we struggled. I didn't think we struggled. And so I really believe that we should pay it forward. Too much is given, much is expected. And so my family has a foundation called the Empowered for Greatness Foundation, where we provide mentorship and scholarships for financially challenged students, like the poor of the poor, the poorest of the poor. I also head for my alma mater, University of Ibadan, Nigeria College of Medicine, the first and the best. And so we do the same thing. And that's really been such a joy. As a matter of fact, I think either last week or 2 weeks ago, 4 of our students on the indigent program, Global Sponsored Student Program for financially challenged students, for students that earned distinctions in their
Oh,
SMD. So that's just proof right there that you can transform a life by just
mm,
helping, giving a helping hand and helping them to rise. And so, just to tie it up in a neat little bow, I, like John Maxwell says, I'm a person of value. I know my purpose, I know my value, and I'm walking in it now. It's not always been like that. I'm
mm.
not felt like that. I've gone through coaching and all. We'll talk about that later. But I'm a person of value. I value others and I add value to others. And that's really the my what my existence is all about on this side of heaven.
Wow. I mean, I could at this point say that, you know what, we've actually passed the message across with with your introduction. I mean, talking about what your purpose is, what you are out to do, how you give back, what your values are. You've kind of like covered everything, and you just it's just like a mic drop moment. We can say that we finished today's podcast. So, all the guests, no, I'm just joking. All right. So,
More
but
to
wow, that
come.
yeah, definitely more to come. Well, yeah, I really loved your introduction, and I think the most important thing I would draw from your introduction is the fact that many people, when you ask them, tell us about yourself, they probably just say, "Oh, this is who I am, this is where I've come from, and this is what I do." But what we know is that what you do is not necessarily the same thing as who you are, and you've kind of reflected on that, and you've seen that okay, I'm more than just what I do. I can do. I love how you said it. You said I've seen that I can do career and I can do life together, and I think that's something that I would like everyone that is watching to also um, learn from that. Who you are is not the same thing as what you do. I'm a doctor, I'm a nurse, I'm a speaker. That's great. That's what you do. But who are you? And I've seen that. I've seen how you've managed to pull everything together and bring it in one. And thank you for that. The four Ds are really interesting: depletion, demotivation, delusionment, and dissatisfaction. I know you work across different genders and different classes of people, but I think your niche is probably women in healthcare. Is there any reason why that? Do you think these four Ds are more common in women in healthcare?
Well, as thank you for that question and for the compliments. I believe that women who go into medicine or these high-powered careers tend to be people who are very driven. They're type A personalities, and that's not always the case, but for the most part, we know what we want and we go for it.
Mm,
And depending on the culture, let's leave, I'll talk about just even before we go to the career itself. Depending on the culture for which you come from, there's a lot of expectations. And I, for example, growing up, didn't feel that I could go back and say, "Oh, I'm tired," "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Um, I'm exhausted." And then in the career, we have the fact that, at least in America where I live, women are still discriminated against to a certain extent, even though it's the land of the free.
mhm,
Women earn less than their male counterparts. Women are expected to fail. If a man makes a joke about something, it's okay. It's part of the good old boys. If a woman does, then it's like, oh my God, what is going what is going on
mm,
here? And so I feel that a lot of women are on the outside, they look great and they're doing well. And I was one of those women, but on the inside, there was fear. There was fear of speaking up. There was just, when I say depleted, just exhausted, chronic exhaustion, because you have to take care of your family, your husband, your children, depending on what stage of life you are. And whereas most men, not all men, most men will just come home and their meals are prepared. And so it's a tension and a constant tug and pull and tug between societal expectations that have been put on us and us just being able to show up like everybody else. And I decided to stick with that niche because I've been there.
yeah.
Um, I have the receipts, as they say here. I have the receipts. So I am we're able to talk and I'm able to empathize. I'm able to help them remove the obstacles. I'm able to help them step back and refrain. I'm able to help them think long term. And so I really feel is the reason that women go through that.
Wow, yeah, thank you for the massive job that you're doing for women and women in high demanding professions like healthcare and other professions. I think I can relate with what you're saying. Obviously, I'm not a woman, but I can relate with what you're saying. So thank you for what you're doing. And I think it also brings up the lesson that I mean, sometimes our pain points are the things like I said when we started that sometimes you should reflect on those things that frustrate you because your goals and your ambitions might actually come out of that. So if, for example, you did not take time to reflect on, oh, this 15 years or so that you were in practice and you felt a bit depleted. If you just said, oh, that's life, I'm just going to move on, see how people would have missed out on that. So I think for many of us, sometimes the pain points in our lives might actually be the points where we are actually called to make a difference. And sometimes what makes you cry might actually be that thing that you are passionate about. You only just need to tap into it.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, if I may add before you ask the next question, I think
Sure.
too what happens to us is, and I actually was going to talk about that later, but what happens to us as well is everyone, like when I decided to transition out of, well, when I was going to go into private practice, my whole family was up in arms. My mom was like, oh my God, what if something happens to you? People in that generation believe that you should go to work, get a paycheck, and move on.
Mm,
So going into private practice was challenging for them until it became very successful. And then when I wanted to exit out of that, because change is inevitable and we don't, I love challenges. So I want to move from one challenge. Once I've mastered something and I feel it's working well, I wonder what's the next challenge, because that's what brings out the tenacity and the
yeah.
resilience, and it helps you dig deep to come up with those things that just make you function and the world go round. But so when I wanted to sell my practice, my family was opposed because they felt like, how could you making good money, but there's an end side. So I believe that as women and men, we need to now say, reflect, as you mentioned earlier, reflect, and then go back and live our own lives. We're not living someone else's life. Because when you live your life, then you tap into your passion and fulfillment and all. But when you're living somebody else's life, it's not your life. You're not going to have to know how to live it.
Mm. Wow. I hope you picked that as well. You need to live your own life, run your own race. If you're running another person's race, you can never tap into fulfillment. I mean, just like you said something that I've never heard before, that success was beginning to suffocate. And I think many people just aim for success, 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 success. But you should not just aim to be a success. You should actually aim to be a significant person. I mean, you need to be to contribute to others. Success is all about you, but significance is about others. So success on its own, although for many people might seem to be the end goal, it's not the same thing as fulfillment. And it's only by running your own race that you can actually find true fulfillment. Thank you, Dr. Oshikanlu. I'm going to ask one question because I always like reinforcing this point. The question is, what are your values? Can you share some of your values for us so that we can actually learn and tell us about how you came about these values or what they mean to you?
Great question. When I think of my values, first of all, I just want to say the quote by Miles Monroe, who was a pastor and motivational speaker. He said, "Unless you know the purpose of a thing, then abuse is
Is inevitable.
inevitable." And I know a lot of people have heard that. I believe that we need to live a purpose-driven life, and the earlier you start, the better. So for me, when I think about my values, it starts with I'm a Christian, so it starts with my faith. So just knowing God, loving Him, serving Him. And out of that comes everything else that I've accomplished and everything else that I do and the lens through which I view the world. So God first, and then adding value to people. I really believe that, as you mentioned earlier, usually when I MC in places, I've MC'd at weddings before, and what I tell people to do is I'll say, hold your neighbor's hand. Once they hold, and I'll say, raise up that hand. What happens is, as you're raising your hand, you're raising your neighbor's hand as well. So I believe that it's important. That's another value, to value people, to add value to people, because that's what makes us. That's what actually gives us the joy.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, success was suffocating because I had the money, but I didn't feel fulfilled. And after that, we started the Part for Greatness Foundation. And I'm so happy. I'm always so happy. So God first, valuing other people and adding value to them, and then just walking in integrity. Uh, and integrity is not necessarily, integrity to me is not necessarily just about what you do to other people. It's what you do to yourself and what you say to yourself. So, for example,
Mm.
I've been trying to lose some weight. And so I said, okay, I'm going to exercise. But the first morning I walk a mile, the second morning I walk a mile. And I said, I'm going to do this for the next 1 month. By day 3, I'm like, it's too cold outside. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not going to. Just lied to myself. And a lot of times
Mm.
people don't see it that way. But framing it that way has really helped me in being able to move forward with the things that I have in my journal, my to-do list, my checklist. So integrity to yourself, to your own self first be true, then that will help you. If you're integral with yourself, then you'll have integrity with others. And there's so many other things, but I think for me, those are the core values for me.
Thank you. So first is your faith, second, adding value to others, and thirdly, integrity. And integrity also means being true to yourself. I mean, being true to yourself when no one is around. I mean, when there's no one else. I mean, many people have integrity when the whole world is watching, but it's like when no one is watching, that's when the integrity matters the most. And I love the fact that you've actually set these values, faith, adding value to others, and integrity, because these things are things that you have actually worked on, and it's not when something happens along the line, then you say, oh, what are my values, let me see how can I put faith into this, because you've already internalized those principles. When the time comes, you're just living out the values. It's not just something you're just saying. It's not just word of mouth. It's something that is lived through the heart. And for everyone watching, again, another message for us is, let your values be ingrained, let them be internalized, because there will be times where your values will be tested. At those times where your values will be tested, it's too late to select your values. It's that time that you live out your values. Thank you, Dr. Ashikalu. Um, the next question I'm going to ask you is your ticket on this show. What are you truly passionate about as a passionate person? I know
Everybody,
you've said it before, but I just want you to just keep repeating it. It's lovely music to our ears on the Passionate Professional series.
so currently it's just transformation. So I'll say, what am I passionate about right now? Transformation. Transformation for my colleagues in healthcare who are going through the same things that I've gone through. I'm still coaching. I really coach women. I'm coaching a couple of women right now. And when I tell them my story, like the story nobody tells or the story nobody can see, when I tell them my story, it's almost like a light goes off. And they're like, oh, I thought it was just me. I didn't know you went through this. And so that serves as a springboard for the rest of the coaching session, the rest of our time together, being able to inspire them, being able to empathize with them. So just seeing women transform. Because women do a lot. We're mothers, we're aunties, we're sisters. We manage a lot of times the budget, the home scene. There are single mothers out there. I raised my son as a single mom. There's so many things out there. So transform, continuing with Full Hands Ventures, making sure that we stay true to our mission with helping women overcome some of these challenges so that they could step out with clarity and with purpose. They can reflect, as you mentioned earlier. So and then the other one is philanthropy. When you give, there's so many, wherever you go in the world, people who don't believe in God, people who believe in God, every religion and even in professional ways, says that you should give and that it's more blessed to give. And so I'm passionate about giving other people access. These young minds, as I mentioned earlier, 4 of our global sponsored student programs, these are students who come from the poorest of the poor families, but they're brilliant. Several individuals sponsored them and they got distinctions. Can you imagine? I mean, just close your eyes for a moment and imagine what would have happened to those students if there was nobody to pick them up and say, I believe in you. So doing that, and not just giving money, I also believe in mentoring these students. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, uh, no, on Friday, I have monthly mentoring programs for the students, and we had somebody come and talk about reset and recharge, because there's a lot of tension. The students are under a lot of stress back home.
Yeah.
The lecturers are on strike. They don't know what's going to happen to them next. So being just able to bring topics that are relevant and mentor the students, those are the things that I'm passionate about.
Wow, that's brilliant. Yeah, so the things that you're passionate about, transformation and philanthropy. And I don't know if anyone has seen this, I've just shared this, but it just shows that intersection between what we love, what we're strong at, what the world needs, and what we get paid for. For many people, like we were saying at the start, so many people they just focus on their professions, and then they feel like, oh, what's going on? They're successful at that, but they still feel like I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. What's going on? I think this is a Venn diagram that kind of has P in the middle. The P is purpose, and this is the passion and purpose of. So we like talking about these things. Um, Dr. Oshikanlu has also embodied this. She's telling us like, oh yeah, this is what I was doing for the last 15 years. I was getting paid for this. I was making money, but I didn't feel fulfilled. But when she eventually stepped out and she mixed her profession or her vocation with her passions, transformation in women's lives, mission, helping young people that are financially in need of financial empowerment for their education, medical and law students, and then a vocation as well. Speaking, I found I will talk to that about that in a bit, but you MC at weddings as well. That's like your vocation, what the world needs, what you love doing. When you intersect all of them together, that is when you are truly living out your passions and you're going to fulfill purpose. And there's something you said. I don't know if it was intentional, or maybe it just slipped up. But you said what I'm passionate about now is this and this. And it's also interesting that you said that, because I believe that many times we feel like, oh, your passion has to be something, it has to be a light bulb moment, and oh, this is what I'm passionate about. But your passions can change as you evolve over time. And I love the fact that you said that your passion at this moment is transformation in women and then philanthropy and mentoring. So thank you for sharing that. It's just to reinforce that this is the Passionate Professional series. You can be a professional, but you can also make time for what you're passionate about. If I have a few minutes, I'm just going to share a story, and it's part of the things that made me start this podcast. There was a day I was just in a taxi. I was going between two different hospital sites, and then I just started having a chat with the person that was driving, and she was like, "Oh yeah, do you know I used to work in the hospital before?" I was like, hold on, what's going on? It was a lady, and she said, "Yeah, I used to work as like the chief nursing officer in the theaters or something like that," um, and then I retired. And then I realized that I didn't know anything other than what I've been doing all my life. And then I tried to join people, like join some clubs, play golf or whatever, but it wasn't just giving me the joy. And that's why I've come back to start driving taxis and start taking patients from hospital side to hospital side, because what I'm truly passionate about is actually encouraging people. So she used to transport patients, and during the short time, whether it's 20 minutes drive or something, just giving them encouragement, like, don't worry, things are going to get better. But we don't have to wait until when we retire to find out what we're passionate about. And that's why we do these shows. So
Can I comment
I'm
real
going
quick
to,
on
sure, go for sure.
that? So
It's all about you, actually.
I love what you just said, and I success success is about you. It's all about us, and
Yeah.
significance is about other. And I was reading a book. I'm not sure. I need to find that book. Um, Success to Significance. I believe that
Mhm.
the way we've been trained or raised in society, it's just about success. Okay, you are going from age 9. I was going to be a physician. 'Cause my father was a physician. My mom says you're going to be a doctor, and so that was everything was geared towards becoming a doctor. But when you become a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, whatever it is that your career, what next? And I want to challenge the listening audience to say, step back. I don't care how old you are. You could be 20, 30, 40, 56, but step back after this show and begin to ask yourself the question, what is my purpose? What is it that's a common thread in my life as I've gone through life that keeps showing up? For me, it was People will always come and tell me their problems. In fact, I used to joke and say, sign on it that says, tell me your problems. But I didn't, that was my gift. And it's worked for me, and it's working for me right now. But again, you can still have your career because we need the money. One of the things that you heard my intro says serial entrepreneur. I'm into real estate. I'm doing speaking and communication. I'm planning on writing a book. So I do a lot of things. I have my hands in a lot of things because to fund your passion and to fund the philanthropy, we need money. And so there's just a delicate balance.
Yeah, definitely. We all need money to fund our passions. Otherwise, our passions would actually would not be able to sustain them. Yeah, I've seen people that have said, you know what, today is the last day I'm going to stop working. They hadn't planned for it, and I'm just going to go and start this thing I'm passionate about. And then 2 years down the line, they come back because they can't sustain it. I think that's something we had a couple of guests some months back, and they did say that we knew that we're passionate about sharing financial knowledge, but we had to save up. So we knew we needed the job. We had to save up because we knew that the time without the job, working in our passions, will be hard if we didn't have something to fall back on. So another lesson for us today is you might be passionate about something, but realize that you need something to sustain your passions. Otherwise, your passions might die out if you cannot sustain them. And number one thing is finances, actually. You won't believe it, Dr. Shikolu, but we're nearly like 40 minutes into the episode. So, and I still have lots of burning questions to ask you.
Oh, well, okay, let's go. Let's just do this. Ask the most relevant ones on your end, and we'll answer. I will do a part two.
Yeah, why not? I think the next question I would like to ask is, I know you touched it, but I don't know if that's your answer, about how you lost your father when you were 9 years old. But I wonder if there's any challenging or difficult time in your life that you'd want to share with us, and how did you navigate it? Because again, for many of us, sometimes there are people that are going through challenging times, and it's just they need someone else to actually encourage them. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to share.
Yeah, sure. Happy to share. Yes, when my father died, it was challenging, but as I thought about coming on this program, I went to call something that's in Mossy. And for me, it's transitioning from and owner to corporate and that. And I went from being the sole decision maker, the buck in it with me, to having to follow the organizational structure and chain of command. It was an adjustment, but I was clear on what I wanted. Just as when we spoke initially, you mentioned something about have your values ingrained in you before the challenge comes.
Yeah.
And so what I did during that transition period, and one of the reasons the transition was challenging was because I had friends and family saying, you're making all this money. Why? It didn't make sense to them, but it made sense to me. I felt that season was over. I had given it my best, and it was time to move on to something else, something totally different from what I did, something where I needed to learn. So some of the things I did to lean in were just being an avid learner, asking people questions, listening, and then seeking mentorship. And ultimately, I love acronyms. I'm going to repeat that so many times. So ultimately, I came up with an idea framework and an idea like IDEA. And when I do acronyms, what it does for me is when I'm going somewhere or going through stuff, I bring it back, and then I can almost like repeat it over and over again like a mantra. So the I in idea is intentionality, realizing that success is built on purpose and not by accident. When you talked about financial empowerment, we talked about it's something you have to go do. You have to empower. You have to go ask questions. You have to create a budget. It's not just going to come like that. And then the D in idea is delegation. If you want to go fast, you can't go alone. So if you want to, you have to go together with people. So being able, this is not necessary for me to do right now. these are my most important things, and then I do them and delegate some things to other people. Even our children. One of my ladies that I'm coaching was like, I hate opening emails. I hate opening my mail. But she has a son. I think her son is 14 and her daughter is 12. I said, pay them $2 a week to go through the email they can read and sort it for you. Pay them to also go through your mail. So delegation is not a bad word. And then the E in ideas empowerment. I learned that as a strong leader, I'm not just creating followers. My job and my role is to create more leaders. So I can't hug the information that I have. I can't hug the knowledge that I have. I have to give it out, give it out. I was at an event not so long ago, and I think this is what I said. I said, be, and it's not a quote from me, but it said, be a river, don't be a reservoir.
Yeah.
Because reservoirs hold on to stuff and then start to stink. But when you're a river,
Yeah.
given and out of, even from this podcast today, if you hear something that's resonated with you, go tell somebody else, because it's in the telling and the reflection, as you mentioned earlier, that we grow.
Yeah.
And then A is accountability. What gets measured is what gets managed. And I have an accountability partner. I journal, even as you mentioned in the intro. I was like, he's stealing all my things I want to talk about. But anyway, I'm just joking. But just this is and then SMART goals. In 6 months' time, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want to be. So even though it was a challenging time, I was able to reframe what was going on and see the advantage of it, where I was going. And has it been tough? Yes, at times it's been tough, but I just kept my commitment to myself to learn and to grow.
Well, thank you for sharing your experience during your transition period into the corporate world, and how you use the idea framework, intentionality. And you mentioned that you're an avid learner, and that's interesting because many people, when they go through challenging times, that's when they throw all in and just say, let's see if I survive, let's see if I float, that kind of thing. But during the challenging time, that's when you actually even revved up your effort. Like you said, oh, I'm even going to do more. You use the idea framework. I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to delegate. I'm going to empower myself, and I'm going to be more accountable. I think Paul is just asking. So intentionality. I've stolen it now. Intentionality, delegation, empowerment, and accountability. And I think it's another learning point for us is that when we're going through challenging times, I mean, the natural response would just be, oh, let me just binge eat, let me just sit down and just watch TV. I can't kill myself. I've done what I can do. But I think we need to start asking ourselves, how can I be a better person? How can I come out better on the other side of the challenge? COVID is an example. During COVID, COVID has actually differentiated a lot of people now. There are many people that COVID for them was a blessing in quotes, because during that time they accelerated their progress, and many people, they are like, oh, what did I do with that time? But yeah, the learning point is always ask yourself during challenging periods, like, what is the opportunity here? Because in every challenging situation, a seed of opportunity that you need to look for. Thank you very much. A lot of listeners are asking questions, or they're actually showing that they are following our conversation. Dr. Michael Koku, welcome to the show as well. He was also on the show, the second episode of this show as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you another question, Dr. Oshikanlu. Can you tell us? I think you mentioned at the start, like that you're able to balance career and life. How do you achieve a work-life balance, or what does it even mean to you, work-life balance?
Work-life balance. I actually, when people say work-life balance, I'm like, well, I don't believe. I believe in self-care. I really do. I believe in self-care. But I think that when we talk about work-life balance, we need to see that it's a journey. It's not a destination. And every time I reflect on that, I believe that it's going to be different for each individual. And even with individuals, it's going to be that this work-life balance is also going to be different at different stages in your life. So, for example, when my son was, I think it was 7 or 8 when he opened Shalom, I can't remember, but I had to take him with me to the hospital sometimes. I had to take him with me to the office sometimes. I worked all the time. Uh, Maybe a couple. We didn't have much money, so a couple of weekends we would go to a hotel or just so. You have to determine what works for you, but in doing that, it's also important to say, find out this is my purpose. This is where I'm going. See myself in 10 years time or 5 years time. This is where I want to be. So there are seasons in our lives where we're just going to have to work, uh, and then discuss with our children, discuss with family members, discuss with our spouses to see how they can provide that support. I basically choose my own schedule. I decide what I want to do, but I've also made time for just walking outside. I love to walk, walking outside or going hiking or sleeping. Dr. Popi's going to kill me because I said sleeping, but for sleep or sleeping or resting or just sitting there doing nothing, not scrolling through my phone, not scrolling through my whatever devices, my television, not scrolling through those things. So I mean, I'm not sure if I answered that question, but that's the I just have this thing with work-life balance. I just everybody has to decide what matters to them. Your health, your family, your relationships. Make sure you prioritize those, and then ask your boss because a lot of times if we don't ask, we don't get. Uh, does not get it. So if your mouth is no food. So,
Mhm.
so ask, so this is my schedule. I see you schedule me from Monday to Sunday. I would like to have Sunday off. Or can I work out something with you? So there's so many different ways to make this thing work, to make our career work, to make our hobbies work, to make our gifting work for us. But we have to start asking the questions and reflecting and digging deep and then coming up with a formula that works for you as an individual. And that's what I've done. And mine is working.
Yeah, I totally agree that you've answered the question. I think the summary that I'll get that I've extracted from your answer is that we should understand the seasons. Yeah, because there will be times when life will demand more from us. There will be times when our career will demand more from us. I think someone once put it that it's like you don't it's not like work and life they just stay equally. There'll be times when you just have to keep adjusting the scales to make sure that one doesn't tick the other one over, and obviously that takes precision, that takes self-care as well. Yes, I totally agree with that answer. And you did talk about things like walking outside in nature, and I think there's a picture of you at the Saratoga Springs. What was that experience like? I mean, I feel like being out in nature is something that we underestimate nowadays because someone said that nature is where we've come from. All these buildings, air conditioned buildings, cars, they are artificial environments. Like this is the natural environment. So what does that add to you, working out in nature?
It's really been nice. I started doing that years ago. I go to the park, I walk, I hike. That picture that you put up was with my friends in Saratoga Springs, I think is what it's called in New York. And we had a ball. I believe that, let's just talk professionally. If you want a return on investment, you want a good return on your investment, you want productivity from this, and from people that work with you. You want to be able to come up with innovative ideas. Innovation is going on at the speed of light right now. Nature does that for you because when you go out and you start walking, it's you and just the atmosphere. One of the things that I do, I don't know where I got this from. As I'm walking, I would say, let me count how many sounds I can hear. And I begin to listen. I can hear the horns tooting. I can hear the birds chirping. Then I look at the birds and look at how many birds can I see out today. Then I'll look at how many shades of green are there. And when I said looking at those things, when I was, my goodness, God, there's so many things here. There's so many things out here. There's just a freedom and a liberty that's refreshing. And I believe that there's science to prove this. I don't have numbers, so I don't want to quote any, but there's science to prove this. It helps lift one up when one is anxious or depressed or discouraged or disillusioned. That's where you can go and take a journal and imagine in the park, just be with nature. We sit too much. All we do is sit down, and that's not healthy.
I mean, this is the first time I've heard that, and I think the active process of actually being in nature. Many people will just say, "Oh, let me just walk, take a walk," and maybe you're listening to music or you're on your phone as you're walking, or but that active process of, "Oh, let me see how many sounds I can hear." You're actually connecting with nature that way. I've never thought of that, but I think that's a step further. If you're thinking of walking out in nature, that's something that you can do as well. Oh, wow. We've got 10 minutes to go. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to know from you? Okay, can you tell me who some of your mentors are or some people that have inspired you along the course of your life?
So two people come to mind. First of all, my mom. My mom
Mm,
was 33 when my father passed away with five children. As I mentioned, I've been the oldest, one line, and she's from Greater West Indies. And it was really challenging. A lot of people helped her, but it was really challenging. But one of the things, not one, a couple of things I saw in my mom: tenacity, resilience. She determined she was not leaving Nigeria till all her children were grown because she had promised my dad. Uh, I saw her manage money. I saw her make our home beautiful. And I believe, and people tell me that I'm very much like my mom. So this drive to succeed, the drive to be significant, to help other people, to have integrity, and to grow in my faith come from my mom. And then a second mentor, and he's on the call, that someone who's helping me pass just literally my life and this journey in the course and development space is the way we met was funny. I reached out to me because I went to same and started inviting me to masterminds, complimentary masterminds. And I was like, when I saw what he was doing, I was like, oh Lord, please sign me up. Can you coach me? So we need coaching. If you want to be, one of the things I think about is we stand on the shoulder of giants. And when you stand on
right.
their shoulders, you see further than you would ever
Mm,
have been able to see if you were on the ground by yourself. So whether it's a financial coach, whether it's a coach in the growth and development space, whatever area of your life needs tweaking, find a coach. And I'm not trying to embarrass him because it's on the call. I This man literally changed my life. My
wow.
boldness, he gave me so sponsorship. That's one of the things he's done. Put me on platforms and introduced me to people and opened doors I wouldn't have been able to open on my own because I don't have those relationships. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I must say a big thank you to Dr. Coco as well, because he actually connected me with you as well, and that's why you're on the show as well. So, and I agree, people like Dr. Coco and like you said, your mom, and we all should also try to be like that. We don't just want people that will fit into our shoes, because that's what sometimes we want to do as leaders, or just find someone to fit into your shoes. But no, we have to go a step further. We have to we have to find people that we want to put on our shoulders so they can see farther, they can go farther than we've gone. And yes, everyone should have a mentor like Dr. Koku and like your mom as well. Thank you, Dr. Koku, and thank you for the support that you give us on the Passionate Professional series and to many people across the world. And I think I've seen where you got that acronym spirit from as well. Dr. Koku is also another big lover of acronyms as well. Okay, so
Yes.
yeah, Dr. Koku is the king of acronyms. That's what I call him. Um, Is are there any books or is there any book that has changed your life? Because I think books are kind of like conversations that we have with people that we might not get to meet. But is there anyone that has actually changed your life or that you find as an impressive book that you think we all should get a copy of?
I believe that the Aladdin Factor, I've told everybody about it so much. The Aladdin Factor is a great book. I think it's the people who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. And what I like about the book is that it just teaches you how to ask, the power of asking. I used to be afraid to
Mm,
ask people things because I was like, well, what if they say no? What if, what if, what if, what if? And now I realize that just ask. If you don't ask, it won't happen. So just have a strong ASK. Just ask. Just do it, like Nike says, that commercial, just do it. And so I love that book. And then I'm reading one now. I don't want to have to get up. From Success to Significance by, I'm going to get the book set. From Success to Significance, where it just talks about basically what we've talked about today. I just started reading that about two
Yeah.
nights ago, and I think it's a wonderful. Yes, From Success to Significance by Lloyd Reeb, R-E-E-B. That's another very good book. I think I'm on page 10 and I've underlined it back and forth and up and down. So this is a good book. It says you've achieved a measure of success in the first half of your life and it's been a thrill. And then it talks about what significance looks like. And you don't have to be 60 or 70 to start thinking that way. Do it now.
Okay, this might have actually been the answer to the last question I was going to ask you. I'll ask you again, and if it is the answer, you just reinforce it. Is there any advice that you'd that you have for young professionals? I was just looking at, I mean, I was reading your bio, and I discovered that you actually graduated from medical school even before I was born, and so you have lots of experience to to actually give to us young professionals. So, is there any advice that you want to give young professionals that are listening to this?
Yeah, sure. So when I think about young professionals, I think about myself. So this is what I would tell my 20, 30, 40-year-old self. And it would be start early, trust yourself. And just like I said earlier, just do it. So trust yourself, find out what purpose is. Not nature will help you. Just start walking around regardless of your focus. What is my purpose? Why am I? So, what things make you happy? What things do you see as a recurring pattern in your life? What thing is it that you do that is effortless? It could be baking, it could be sewing, but there's something. Everybody is. I love this phrase, and I know I'm taking some time, but it says, I say to myself, I'm not an accident. I'm not an afterthought. I'm an assignment. And I repeat it over again. I'm not an accident, not an afterthought. I'm an assignment. Because I believe that when you key into that, you begin to ask yourself questions about purpose. And then realizing that success is not about doing more. It's about just aligning your energy with what truly matters. So find out what truly matters to you and then act on it. Write down your goals, your business goals, your personal goals, and then act on it and get an accountability partner or mentor. I have someone that I talk to every week on Thursday, and we go through what are you doing now? What do you do? And things like that. So just those three. And I can give you a quick acronym for that.
Yep.
It's I am. I is the intentionality, A is accountability, and M is measurability. So be intentional about finding out who you are, your purpose in the different areas of your life. Be accountable to yourself, to others, and then measure it, track your progress so that you know, okay, this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I did. And if it didn't happen, just it's the next opportunity. What's the opportunity here? Reframe all those things.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shikalu. I think I'll be doing a disservice if I don't ask you what Full Hands Ventures mean. Where did you come up with that name, Full Hands? What does it mean? I'm very curious.
Okay, nice. So, preach the message on full hands and just biblically how using the work of your hands to, when your hands are full and your cup runs over, just being able to push that out and impact and empower people and inspire people in different areas of their lives. And so when I was thinking about a business, I said full hands seems appropriate because it's like you're pouring into people. My hands are full, but I'm pouring out, I'm giving. I'm not keeping it to myself. I'm a river, I'm not a reservoir. And that's what I teach and coach emerging leaders and leaders that we have that are that just give what's in your hand.
Wow. That's been a full hour of value added service from Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu. If you want to, as you can see the scroll up beneath, if you want to connect with her, you can search for her on LinkedIn using her name, Dr. Olabisi Oshikanlu, or you can visit our website, www.fullandsventures.com. It's been a power-packed episode, lots of things, lots of threads. We need to reflect more often, and we need to realize that success is not an end game. Success itself can suffocate. So you need to move from success to significance. And with that, I think I can say that we've come to the end of another exciting episode. Thank you to everyone that has joined in, Paula, Dr. Koku, and some other people that probably have not commented but have joined in. I think I'm going to change my closing statement today, and I'm going to steal it from Dr. Oshikolo, and I'm going to say today that remember that you are not an accident, you are not an afterthought, you are an assignment. Till we meet again, make sure you keep living with passion and purpose. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Great being on the show.